Megan Wilson is an artist, activist, and nonprofit consultant in San Francisco. Christopher Statton is an artist, an activist, and a nonprofit arts administrator. Individually and as partners, Megan and Christopher work to promote social justice and are active in the local arts community. They're both members of the Clarion Alley Mural Project, a public art installation in the Mission District. I interviewed them at their home in San Francisco. What are you two working on right now as far as a project? What's occupying your time?
We are working on a project called Better Homes and Gardens Today that is an extension of a project that I started in 2000, where I began, during the first .com boom, I started to notice more and more folks who were homeless and who were sleeping on the steps of churches near my home. And then I started hearing more and more about evictions, friends who were getting eviction notices, nonprofits that I was working for were getting eviction notices, and businesses. So I started to paint these home signs, and I was giving them out to folks who were living on the streets that I knew, and folks who were in danger of being evicted or who had been evicted, to put in their windows as a sign of solidarity. And that was based on an experience I had had in my hometown, Billings, Montana, where during the early 90s and during the holiday season, Jewish families were getting bricks thrown through their windows. And the way that the town responded was that everybody, all the townsfolk, started putting menorahs in their windows. And the newspaper printed a full-page menorah, said, "Please put this in your window," and the violence stopped. So this time we're painting home signs in all different languages, and we're doing this to benefit 3 organizations that serve the homeless in San Francisco: the Gubbio Project, the Coalition on Homelessness, and At the Crossroads. The Gubbio Project, which opens up its pews every day from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. so that folks have a place to rest, because otherwise they don't necessarily have anywhere to go. You know, they just keep being moved and being moved with, you know, no thought of where do you think that they're going.
Let's try to introduce the new culture of San Francisco to these amazing organizations that are actually doing such incredible work in helping the homeless community and the street community. And I think that, you know, what our intent was to be able to on those be this conduit for those organizations on their terms, to be able to raise money and not
and
have
consciousness.
And
raise money and raise awareness. Here we're trying to connect them with these organizations on these organizations' terms, which are, hey, be a part of this project, hear about what we really do, and support us by actually giving what we need, which is money to do the work that we do, and learn about the policy change that's needed. But they aren't coming to us on these terms. They're saying that they will let their employees know about it, but not one employee has supported what we're doing.
You can't solve this problem by just creating an app. You can't solve this problem, you know, with technology or rebuilding someone's website. But that's what these companies have to offer. And I think that that's a disconnect in thinking, is that, you know, what these organizations need is funding. That's all they need. They're at capacity. They can't even handle volunteers. You know, they're running their engines at full steam. And for someone outside who doesn't understand the situation to come in and say, like, "Oh, we'll build a website for you, and then, you know, life will be easier," you know, it just doesn't work that way. And what they need to do is step up and fund these people, so that's what makes their lives easier. You know, there's no denying it. I mean, we see the numbers, the funds are out there, and it's you know, it's really shameful that those funds aren't being given to those organizations.
And so how many years for each of you in the city?
I've been here 20 now.
Okay.
So consecutively, I've been here since 1997, so I don't know, I'm not quick on the math right now. 17 years.
Do you still feel like you belong in San Francisco?
Yes and no, both. I feel like I belong here, but then I feel really heartbroken by what I'm seeing.
The only way that I feel welcome here now really is the fact that a friend of ours who's a writer, give him credit for saying this. He's like, you know, it's their city, but you give them street cred. So that's the way I feel welcome. Is like, you know, people want Clarion Alley. People want to shoot their commercials on Clarion Alley. People want to shoot their movies on or Clarion Alley, or their music videos on Clarion Alley. And so that takes a lot of hard work. So, you know, in the way of like my hard work becoming a product for someone else, yeah, I totally feel welcome in that way of like, yeah, stay, keep doing that for free, you know, and you know, we'll do what we want, you know. But in any sort of way of like where, you know, communities that I felt that are very supportive, very welcoming, very loving, I feel that less and less here.
We met two women who live at one of the SRO hotels near ATA, and before the evening we had where we had the event, they had been to one of the places that gives out bags of groceries, and they had gotten some apples. And so on their way back home, they were going by dog-eared books, and there was a man there who's homeless, who sits out there, and we know him too. Often sits out there and is just reading. And so they offered him some apples, and he had to say, I can't eat them, because he didn't have any teeth. So one of the women that was with them went home, cooked the apples down for him, and took them back. And that, you know, is just, you just don't see that. It's like that community that has so little, and yet you see somebody else in pain and they're willing to help them. And then you see all these other people with so much walking by that won't even look at them, won't even notice. And that's what I see as the difference here.